Okay, you noticed the name of the video, White Knight for Men. Yeah, I think it's about time somebody speaks up for men. It's not going to be biased. It's not going to be fake. It's not going to be a black widow. You know, like Karen Stroud. Chris writes what? I know that might piss a few people off that are fans of hers. But the reality is in your face. All you got to do is look. What is she and her female friends who are running a men's movement for rights for men, what have they accomplished? What have they actually accomplished for rights for men? Can you show me some legislation and laws that's been changed? Can you show me where the male bashing in Hollywood has stopped? Oh, that's right. She can't show any of that because she's accomplished a big fat zero. Nothing. What she has accomplished, though, is making a lot of money. The tool, that's right. So, greed, the tool, that's right. She's accomplished keeping her position of power over the top of men. That's right, power. Power and greed. The virus that attacked the human brain. Corruption. That's the same mentality we find with the filthy rich. That's right, the upper class. We find it with the elite. Power and greed absolutely corrupts. Corrupts the human mind completely. That's why I call it power and greed, the virus that attacks the human brain. Because it absolutely corrupts. 100% straight across the board, no ifs, no ands, it corrupts. And through that corruption, from power and greed, the virus that attacks the human brain, it becomes, well, selfishness, greed, the ability to keep power over the top of somebody else, to control others, to mislead others, to not care about others, to have the elite's mindset that we're nothing but goyim, we're nothing but useless eaters and feeders, we're cattle, we're herds, we're slaves, we're worthless, we're useless. This is all coming from power and greed. It's the same mindset as when you work in a business and somebody, well, the owners of it don't make their payments on time and the bank forecloses and you keep your job and new owners take over and one of the new owners has the virus that attacks the human brain. Looks down on his employees. That's right. Because of the average Joe like you and me. And then he thinks because of a man-made thing that he's above. He's better. He's smarter. He's on a God status level. This is what we see all the way up the chain. Power and greed. What do you think Karen Stroud is? Power and greed. That's right. Why do you think she's accomplished zero? Because for her to accomplish something means she would change something that she's not going to be able to change anyhow because the laws that's been put in place and the corruption that's been put in place was no accident. You're not going to get no congressman or no senator to root and change the laws that have divided the genders and broke up the family units. Matter of fact, in today's society, the governments promote divorce. Well, how do you say that? I'll give you a good example of how they promote divorce. For one, they're the reason we have all the corruption we have within the family units. Okay? They're the reason, that's like Joe Biden, the Violence Against Women's Act, that a man can never be a victim of domestic violence. And to this day, men are still fighting to show that they are. Why are they still fighting for something that's so in your face? Because they don't want these laws changed, because they didn't accidentally make them. Another example I can give you, maybe you're somebody that's worked your whole life, and they've taken money from your paychecks your whole life, called Social Security. Maybe your health goes to shy and goes bad and blah, 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 and you become unable to work. Through no fault of your own, you want to work, but you become unable. And maybe you're at the age and worked enough years that you have enough points from Social Security that's taken money all your life from you, that they say that if you become disabled that you qualify for based on your work credits. Maybe you apply for SSD based on your work credits. And let's say you get approved and get it. Then they'll tell you that if you're married, that your wife's income, unless she makes more than $5,000 a month, will never interfere with your benefits. And then it comes to your medical, your medicines, or whatever you need through Big Pharma. Well, suddenly your wife's working a part-time job, your wife's working, suddenly when they told you that her income will never interfere with your benefits, suddenly it's interfering with your benefits. You don't qualify. You must pay and buy them, even if you don't get enough money to buy them. And the only way you qualify is if you file for divorce. Then they won't use her income against you because you have divorced. Promoting divorce. Do you follow what I'm telling you? Yes, they are promoting divorce. Don't believe anything else less than that because that is the factual truth. So you see where we're going here. Karen Stroud, MRA leader. Yeah, that's right. With her female friends, have accomplished a big fat zero. What they have accomplished is to keep the men buffaloed so that she can keep her power, and she's making herself a whole lot of that tool, the monetary system money. That's what she's doing it for. She's not speaking up because she cares about you as a man. No! She's doing it for the tool. And she accomplishes nothing because she don't actually want to really accomplish anything, because then she would have to give up some of her corruption, power, over the top of the man. And then we have the Naginas. I like to call them Naginas. Some people call them Manginas. Or white knights. Okay, who will clearly throw men under the bus even though they're a man. Clearly take a hammer and smash themselves in the head. All for what? For what? To impress the female gender. Could make the female gender mad at us, now could we? No! Don't matter if she's corrupt. Don't matter if she's dumping all over men. We're not going to say anything. We're going to condone her behavior because for whatever we do, we wouldn't want to make her mad at us. That's the mentality. And because you have that mentality, you allow her corruption to escalate, inflate, and become bigger and bigger. All for your hope to put your penis where? Exactly. Sickening and disgusting. Okay, and the women know. Now, of course, remember, when I speak of genders, I'm not 100% speaking about every single female, no more than I'm speaking about every single man. But I had to get that in there again, because you people like to play selective hearing, don't you? You sure do. You want to hear only what you want to hear, right? But anyhow, why am I talking about this again? Well, recently I've brought this topic up many times because the biggest divide out of Divide and Conquer, the biggest divide is the genders. NWO. Social engineering and programming. Divide and conquer. Divide men and women. Make them fight against each other. Destruction of the family unit. Feminism. Social engineering, programming. Male bashing and sitcoms in Hollywood. Putting the man down and building the woman up. And you just all sit back and... So if Karen Stroud was really fighting for men's rights, and women were, you women, this goes out to all the women now, okay? For any woman out there, this is the woman I'm talking to, okay? When I say all the women, I'm talking about the women who say that men should have the same rights, that we should be equal, okay, as far as laws and rights, and how we treat one another, okay? Because you'll hear Clarence Stroud say this, won't you? Sure you will. But ask yourself a question. If she was really serious, or any of you women that speak out and say you're for men's rights, and you see the corruption, and you see how men are actually the one the war is against, because in reality, when you said it was a war on women, that's what media told you, which was a complete lie. The war has never been against women. It's always been against men. I mean, the myth that women were suppressed down is really a myth. It's not true at all. Oh yeah, there was some BS that was put in place through laws that did hold the women back a little bit. Yes, sir. But that was been years ago now. That changed a long time ago. And now what you have is suppression against men. But do you see any women speaking out for that? Yeah, you can see, Karen Stroud. Well, then how come she's accomplished zero? How come the male bashing is still going on? How come it's still alive and healthy? How come all you men sit back and you see all these sitcoms and these commercials and these movies that is dedicated to make you look like you're completely stupid and dumb, but you just turn your back to that? I know some of you are going to say, well, that's because nobody takes that seriously. Want to bet? How much money you want to put on that? The women take it quite seriously. They know they're smarter than you. And these women also never stood up to speak out against that, did they? But yet if we turned the table around and we had thousands of movies and commercials and sitcoms dedicated to putting the woman down, do you suppose there'd be an outcry? Do you suppose it would be changed? Oh yes, in a heartbeat. All of you white knights and you manginas would come forward with the women and you'd be out there madder than hell. But you do it to men on a regular basis, and I don't see no women getting together, marching, holding signs. I don't see women madder than hell at Hollywood and wanting this crap stopped. No! You don't turn your back to it, right? Of course you did. Then you're going to bring up, well, but there's a double standard. You know what double standards are? Power and greed. Power and greed. The virus that attacked the human brain. Corruption. So for any of you people out there, don't matter what gender you are, if you believe in these double standards are normal and you can turn your back to it, where do you think that double standard come from? From the virus that attacked the human brain. Corruption. There is no double standard. Anybody that believes in a double standard or pushes a double standard has clearly got the virus that attacked the human brain. They're corrupt. Their mindset's no better than the elite. They're mental. But we don't see any changes, do we? So anyhow, the reason I gave the video the name I gave it is because I've opened a channel on BitChute. I sure have. I'll leave the link in the more for you. And it is literally called, the name of the channel is, the name of this video. A White Knight for Men. And I'm going to have other people's work up there, but it's all going to be truth. And I'm going to have my own work up there. I sure am. But everything you're going to see on this channel is going to be truth. There's going to be no deception. And I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to repeat it again because it's so true. The biggest divide out of divide and conquer is the genders. So when you're fighting the corruption of NWO, the false flags, the Masons, and all the lies from the media, and all the corruption that's going on, and you're that real truther, not the fake truther, but the real truther. When you're fighting that corruption, if you can honestly blow off this part that I've been talking about in this video, because it's too personal for you, then you're only fighting half the war. And I'm going to say it again. You cannot fight against corruption and think that a war is a buffet line where you can pick what truth you want to fight against, what truth you want to believe, and disregard the rest. That's right. Because then you become corrupt. You're not doing the war any good at all. What kind of help are you? Fighting the whole war and you're over there fighting a quarter of it or half of it? You don't care about the rest? How do you think you're going to overthrow evil, beat evil, but leave half the corruption from evil in place, alive and healthy, and keep promoting that behavior? What good is it doing for you to overthrow the Masons or the Jews or the elite at the top and stop the wars and stop the false flags and stop the media from lying to you? What good is any of that if you're going to leave the other half of the war alive and healthy? You've already lost. You lost before you started. So why are you even fighting? I'm not saying you have to focus in on this topic solely. No, you can't. You have to focus in on all the topics. So you have to give equal attention to all the topics, including this one. But you won't do that, will you? You know why you won't? You might offend some woman. That's right. You might piss some woman off, right? She can't do that, right? Yeah, that's what it comes down to. And if she's pissed off because you're calling out another woman because that woman's absolutely clearly corrupt, and she's mad because you called that out, then she has no right to call a man out for his corruption. But I know you're all going to say that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Yes, there is. See, I call it as it is. So when you say I'm a woman hater, you just remember you men who call me a woman hater, that's because you're man haters. You're misogynist. You're man haters. You're misogynist against men. Misandria. You can reword it. I'll just use the same word. I mean, some people reword it and call it misandrias. But, the other word for somebody who hates men. But I'm not even going to go there with you. I'm not going to create new words for different. It just creates a bunch of confusion. When you want to call me a misogynist saying I hate women, while you're calling me a woman hater and a misogynist, you just remember you're a misogynist and a man hater. You even hate your own gender. You hate your own self so bad that maybe you should get a transition. Maybe you should become a transgender. Maybe you should get some surgery and become a woman. So you don't got to hate yourself so bad, huh? I know I'm being sarcastic towards you, but that's what happens when you're calling somebody a woman hater merely on them pointing at truth. And for you women who would be mad because somebody's pointing out evil, corruption within your own gender, what are you mad about? Because somebody pointed their finger at you when you know you were corrupt? Is that what you're angry about? And for you other women that wasn't corrupt, that just turns your back and looks the other way, you're not going to get involved in that. Let's let her get by with it. We're not going to call her out. She's a female. If we call her out, then we might not be able to get by with it ourselves. That's the way that comes off. So what, you're black widows? Okay, I'm just being sarcastic here, okay? Because in reality, what are you doing? How come there isn't a big outcry pointing at Hollywood with all the male bashing that's been going on? Because you all know that you wouldn't tolerate it if it was the other way around, would you? So how come you're turning your back to this? That's what I want to say, but the link's in the more. That's what this channel on BitChute is going to be dedicated to, is fighting the half of the war that the majority of the truthers won't touch with a 10-foot pole because they wouldn't want to piss some woman off at them. Or because they want to go ahead and go along with the programming that's been socially engineered in society by the people they're fighting against. They want to think that they can keep part of that corruption. And there's nothing wrong with it. Which makes them a complete waste of breath. Because they're not fighting no war. You can't fight a quarter of the war or half the war and never expect to win. So that's where I'm going with this. That's what that channel's about. So you can check it out when you got time, whatever. Don't matter to me, one way or the other. But that's what I opened it for. That's the reason I give the name The White Knight for Men. If it was meant to be an insult towards me when I was called a white knight for men, ha ha, screw you. It's not an insult for me, because that's the biggest problem we have. So we don't have people standing up for men. We have frauds who claim to stand up for men, who has accomplished zero in all these years. Seriously. From Paul Elam to Karen Stroud to all of her flunkies, they have accomplished nothing. Nothing's changed. It's only getting worse. See, this is where I'm coming from. And I have yet to see a gigantic outcry of people standing up and bashing the hell out of Hollywood for making all these sitcoms, these commercials, and these movies, clearly putting down one gender. I don't hear no complaining about that. But I'll guarantee if it was flipped the other way, there'd be tons of complaining, wouldn't there be? But anyhow, you can check out the channel on BitChute. That's where I'll be putting most of this work. Okay? Won't be putting it up here on YouTube. So for men's rights activists and TFLers and people who clearly see what's the corruption that's going on, if you want to catch this half the war, it's going to be fought over there. I've been fighting the whole war for years. I just get so frustrated and sick of how so many people won't fight the other half. And what people do come along and fight the other half seems to be fraudulent. Okay? That are speaking out, that is. And what women have come forward to fight this half so far have all been black widows. But then I think that's because they realize to speak out against this, they're going to lose some power, some privilege that they don't belong having. No man belongs having it neither. I'm not for somebody being over somebody else. Never have been and never will be. I'm for men and women being as equal as each other. And if you don't like that, oh well.